If I were to tell you to walk over to your best friend's house and punch them in the mouth and start a fight with them, you would probably look at me like I was a crazy person, because that would definitely be an insane thing to do. But these people that are part of this MAGA movement, they are desperately craving this type of terrible behavior. But if you want to support independent progressive media and help me get to 1,000 subscribers, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Trying to make it to 1,000 before the end of the year, so I would very much appreciate your support. Now, as far as I can tell, Donald Trump has been a complete asshole his entire life. And because he is the leader of this MAGA movement, and especially because he just got reelected to a second term, he has pretty much given people a permission structure to be their absolute worst selves. This is something that we saw in the first Trump administration. We saw minorities getting harassed at higher rates. We saw people acting a bit more crude in public because they felt emboldened to be the biggest assholes they could be. And Donald Trump is carrying this attitude into his second administration. As most of you probably know, he's already starting fights with our greatest allies and our biggest friends, trying to impose 25% across-the-board tariffs on all imports from Canada and Mexico. And because Donald Trump has trained the MAGA movement to think of him as a master negotiator, they cheer this stuff on. And while Justin Trudeau was down at Mar-a-Lago trying to find a way forward with the insane lunatic that is Donald Trump was casually suggesting that, well, maybe we'll just annex Canada. How about that? So let's go ahead and take a look at what was said, and then we will discuss.
And Trump replied asking, so your country can't survive unless it's ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion. And then Trump suggested to Trudeau that Canada become the 51st state, which caused the prime minister and others to laugh nervously. Also, reportedly, one person at the table said, well, Mr. President, that would be a very liberal state if Canada became a state. And then Trump said something like, well, there could be a liberal state and a conservative state. But nonetheless, he made it very clear. This is what he wants to happen. And, you know, as we reported yesterday, stuff is happening. They're adding more resources to our northern border.
I don't understand where this notion comes from that Canada is somehow ripping off the United States for over $100 billion. Because when I went to do research for this story, I could find nothing of the sort. Canada is our greatest trading partner. We import to them, they export to us. It is a mutually beneficial relationship that benefits both countries. And to think that we're just going to slap them with tariffs because Donald Trump is living in a conspiracy world is quite insane. This is not how we should be treating our friends. We have built a world order that America sits on top of because of our diplomatic relationships, because we've been able to nurture these relationships across the globe and put America in a prime position. But Donald Trump appears to want to take a wrecking ball to all that, just so he can feel like a big, bad, tough guy on the world stage. When all of this is petulant child behavior. He's sitting in a sandbox, pouting that nobody's sharing with him when he's not willing to share at all. And I'm really embarrassed as an American that these are the types of jokes that we would be making towards our biggest ally, because it's just not a decent thing to say. And we all know Trump has authoritarian ambitions, so that joke probably just hits a little bit different. But Jesse Waters went into a bit more detail about how it would be such a good thing if we were to just make Canada the 51st state.
It's great. I mean, Trump's about to take over Canada and Biden's lost in Africa. I've never seen anything like this before, and no one's really shocked that this is happening. I am so supportive of making Trudeau governor. I've never been more excited by anything in my entire life. And let's just be clear, we're not going to make Canada the 51st state. We'll make it 51 and 52. You make Western Canada, that'll be Republican. Eastern Canada, that'll be Democrat, so you keep the electoral balance there. So many reasons to make this a state. I think has the third largest oil reserves in the world.
Oh, a lot.
So that makes us an energy behemoth. It's the most well-educated country in the world because we need a little help in that department. Talk about mining, agriculture, fishing, AI, tech, real estate, Canada, you name it, they got it. We'll never probably lose another Winter Olympics. We'll have all of their skaters and skiers. Wow. I mean, good luck, Sweden. And they share our cultural heritage. They share our language. It's just a no-brainer. Now, I don't know if Canada is going to go along with it, but there's ways to maybe change their opinion.
What the hell is wrong with these people? Yeah, man, we can just go pillage Canada for all their resources. And if he's lucky, Justin Trudeau, well, he can be the governor. And even if this is a joke, the problem I have with this type of rhetoric is that it shifts the Overton window so far into a place where more bad things are more okay. And because Donald Trump has authoritarian ambitions, it's not unreasonable to think that he could seriously contemplate rolling across Canada's borders. I mean, he's already threatening to send the military into Mexico. Why wouldn't he do the same at the north? And because Fox News gives this so much airtime and jokes around about it like it's just fun and games, it really shifts that Overton window. And more people that are part of the MAGA movement are more susceptible to thinking that maybe this idea isn't that insane after all. But this is just Trump being a bully. How degrading of a thing to say. How disrespectful can you be? You're joking about taking away a country's sovereignty while he's trying to have discussions about the tariffs that you are threatening against him? I mean, is Donald Trump taking any of this seriously at all? Or is he just trying to posture and make himself look big and bad because he is such an insecure little baby? And then we have Sean Hannity, who thinks that, well, maybe we can just troll our way to the next Trump administration because, of course, guys, if we are owning the libs, then we must be doing something right, right?
And in Trumpian fashion, earlier today, Donald Trump, well, he continued to troll our neighbors to the north with this meme posted on Truth Social showing the president-elect looking out over the vast Canadian wilderness with the caption, "Oh, Canada."
And that is exactly what Trump did. As you can see here, he posted an AI-generated image of him conquering Canada, standing side by side with the Canadian flag atop a mountaintop of sorts. I mean, what are we even supposed to do with this? And how disrespectful to not only the leaders of Canada, but to the Canadian people. It's just not a joke that was done in good taste. And because Donald Trump has these authoritarian ambitions, people probably feel a certain way about it. Because while it might be a joke now, like I said, it's not unreasonable to think that MAGA can be convinced that expanding our borders to the north would be a good idea. But if they want to just cry that it's all fun and games and it's just a joke, fine. But I have a real problem with the leader of the free world trying to throw his weight around like a wannabe gangster to try to get concessions out of other countries. And let's not forget, it was Donald Trump in his first term that tore up NAFTA because he said we were somehow being screwed over by Canada and Mexico. And then he crafted the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement and held it up as a huge win for the United States. And now he is threatening to impose these 25% tariffs that would be an explicit breaking of those agreements. So we have seen this game before. Donald Trump put on the same show in his first term, and it was not successful. Ask a MAGA. They're not going to be able to point to anything that Donald Trump did in his first term by trying to deploy this strategy, by threatening our allies with tariffs to try to screw them over even harder. So while it might be a joke right now, I don't think it's funny. I don't think it was done in good taste. And more importantly, it is embarrassing that the leader of my country, the next leader, is trying to bully our friends around the way that he is. I don't think that this rhetoric is okay. I think it should be called out every single time, because I do not want the Overton window to shift so far that it's more of a shit show than it already is. Because as we know, the MAGA movement has shifted our political discourse so far in an extreme direction that we're going to have a hard time coming back from all that. And this type of joking around about taking Canada's sovereignty away just plays into that yet again. So I will leave it there for now. If you guys got anything out of this video, please remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. Like I said, I am trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I'm only less than 200 away, so I would very much appreciate your support. If you guys want to see why it was 100% Donald Trump's fault that Hunter Biden got a pardon from his dad, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.